afternoon, everybody. It is March 12th and it is another rain, wind, stormy day here in Nova Scotia, Canada. I am Kelly. This is Loch Briar Knits podcast, all about the knitty goodness, and I have finished objects. I have two finished objects. And two new whips that I don't believe you've seen yet. You haven't seen yet. I'm pretty sure you haven't seen yet. So let's get started. It is, as I said, super rainy. The lighting, it is like about 1 o'clock, I think, in the afternoon. Normally the sun is coming through here, this room at that time. There is no sun. It is really dark. So I've got my lighting set up. I hope it doesn't blow things out. But first off, let's talk about what I'm wearing, because that is one of my finished objects. This is the DRK Everyday Sweater by Andrea Mowry. Now, if you've been watching, you will know I was not enjoying the knit, not the pattern. The pattern is awesome. But the yarn was just, it felt stiff in my hands. It was itchy to the touch. Like when I put the sweater on to try it on, it felt really itchy and I thought it was going to irritate me. It was Jody Long and it was the Alba line and it was in the color Marmalade. So part of my issue was that this was starting to look, because of the color I did it in, almost identical to my stowaway chevron, non-chevron that I didn't do, sweater. And then I was worried because I thought I had made the sleeves long enough and then it didn't look as if they were going to be long enough. They looked much shorter than I thought they would. But blocking creates miracles. As you will see, they came up, actually, if I stretch them out, they come up to here. But I've got this shirt on underneath, so it sort of like pulls it up a little bit. Now, the other thing is, if I were to do it again, which I do think I will do this pattern again, I will make the neck higher. I prefer my sweater necks to kind of come up more like that. And this is fine, but the thing is that because wool can sometimes irritate my skin, not to the point like where I'm breaking out into hives. I used to break out into hives. Like if I wear 100% like really woolly wool, I will break out into hives. But this is actually a blend of 50% wool, 25% alpaca, 25% viscose. Can you hear that? I don't know if the microphone's picking that up, but it is like pelting into the window. This felt really itchy to me when I tried it on before blocking, and I was really concerned that, number one, I thought the sleeves were going to be too small because before blocking they were like maybe to about here. I was worried that the bind off was a little too floopy. I did a loose bind off and I thought it kind of made it a little bit, so I was worried that was going to be an issue. And then the yarn, I didn't enjoy knitting with it, and I was worried that the finished product was going to be really too itchy to wear. And on top of that, it does bear a striking resemblance to my Stowaway Chevron sweater by Marie Green, because it's top down raglan. It's got a bit of a wider ribbing here and it's in the same color. But there are differences. And the thing I do like about this one is the longer hem. So I'm going to stand up. I do like the wide or the long hem. So it does fit loose, but the kind of waviness is gone from it. Now, if I were to, it hits right at about, my hip bone is here. So it's just like right at that length that I like. So that worked out perfect. And the sleeves, as you can see, are perfect. So this softened dramatically. Now, I wouldn't wear it, I would wear it with a t-shirt, but I wouldn't wear it without like some sort of layer underneath. But that's not unusual for me if I have anything that's kind of more of a natural wool non-superwash kind of blend on, because I can get a little irritated by the prickliness, or else it just makes me itchy and I'm constantly. I ended up really liking how this fits and how it feels. I don't know that I would work with this yarn. Again, I do have it in green and I've paired it with mohair. I think this is it. It is. So this is the yarn. This color is Highland. So I love this color, and I have paired it with, this is a mohair from Good Vibrations, and I am completely blanking on the name. I will see if I can find the ball band and information down below. But I paired it with this, and oh my god, it's like a totally different yarn. I love how these two are blending together. So if you see them, this almost has a smoky green feel to it, and then this is like your typical like Highland. When you say Highland green, that's exactly what I think of. This is the fabric that made, and I could not possibly love that color more. I absolutely love it. So I didn't really feel like I had any issues working with this when I was doing the swatch. So I think it was just the blend with the mohair made it so much softer. I don't know what I'm knitting with this yet, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the swatch, and I'm going to take the gauge that I get and then see if I can match it up to a sweater. Now this is a flat one, obviously not in the round. I may start doing it in the round from here and just do from here up for a bit in the round, and then take my gauge in both sections just to see what I get. And then I think what I'm going to do is match the sweater that I do to the gauge that I get in the swatch, just to make my life easier, because then I've already done the swatch and then I'll just do the sweater and match. It seems like an easier way. I've never swatched in the round before, and to be honest, I don't usually swatch. What I will usually do is I will start the sweater, and then when I get a certain length of the sweater, I will then take my swatch and see how close to gauge I get. I'm usually pretty good at getting gauge, like the gauge that's in the pattern. And if I'm off on the gauge, it's usually in the length, not the width. I think my tension is pretty average tension. Like I don't knit loose, I don't knit tight. I seem to hit that sweet spot in the middle. I think what I'll do though for that, since I've already started the swatch, is I'll start doing it in the round, and then I will kind of check the gauge on the flat and the round, and then find a sweater in my library on Ravelry that matches. Go from there. So my first finished object, and I am really pleased with it. All those bad feelings I had went away after I blocked it. I'm sorry for all the mean things I said about it. The other finished object is my Felici socks. Finally finished the Felici socks. I feel like these were on my needles for far too long, and as you can see, these are siblings, not twins, which I'm perfectly okay with. I didn't want to have to unwind this much of the yarn off of the ball to knit pair two, so I didn't. So yeah, so these are off the needles. There's not much to say. This is my standard vanilla sock pattern, which doesn't really have a pattern. I do it about, this is my standard length to do the leg in. I vary on the cuff based on how I feel. So it can be anywhere from 1 to 2 inches. And I pretty much always do the Eye of Partridge heel. And I used to do a pointed toe, and now I've gone to doing more of a rounded toe. I don't know if you can tell from there, because I found my toes are shaped like on a slant, not kind of how some people have, you know, like your middle or your second toe is sort of the higher one. My big toe is the higher one. So my toes go in a slant. So when I was doing the pointy toe, it was a little too pointed, and so my big toe is sort of poking out over here. So I just thought it makes more sense for me, I think, to do a rounded toe. So that's what I did. Also, it means fewer decreases in the toe, which is better because at that point I'm ready to be done. So that means I have a new sock on the needles. So This yarn is Reconciliation by Hypothesis Yarn, who's recently stopped dyeing yarn. So you can see here, this cuff is like about an inch long. I do this because this is about an inch. This is how I measure things. It's a very exact science here over at Loch Briar Knits. So I had originally pegged this to do a 1 skein shawl, but I found that I just started it, but I just was not, I wasn't in the mood to do a shawl, but I really wanted to use this yarn. So I ended up taking it out and redoing it as a sock because I really do need socks. I love the colors in it. All these like little, really delicate speckles on the kind of goldy yellow base. It's really pretty. So this is where I am with the first sock. Most of that work was done this week. So that is what's going on there for that. Not too much to say. Straight up vanilla sock, which is my go-to. I see all these socks with these beautiful patterns and I really want to try them, but I think for me, sock knitting that's sort of my mindless knitting. And so when I go to do sock knitting, I want something mindless. I don't want to have to think. So I always end up doing a vanilla sock. The other thing that I cast on is the Blizzard sweater by Jessica McDonald, and I'm going to put a picture of it probably here. This sweater was designed for the beginning color knitter who wanted to do a colorwork sweater. I ordered myself some DK Swish from Knit Picks in the white for the contrast color and the cobblestone gray for the main color. I am absolutely loving this knit. I probably should have it on bigger needles, but I know once I hit the body, I'm going to have to just switch back to the smaller needles. So I am going to try to stretch this out for you. Why do I keep singing? I'm not a good singer. So this is where I am. I don't know how well this is gonna show the color or the design, but here's where we're at and I love it. So three things about this pattern. I love it. I absolutely love it. But I have always been, anytime I try to learn how to do the German cast on for a stretchy cast on, I cannot do it. I mess it up completely because there's like over, under, through, grab that, come over here, do this. And I just, I messed it up every single time. My brain was just like, I don't know what you're trying to do, but it's not happening. Jessica McDonald had a tutorial on how to do the German twisted cast on, sorry. I thought, okay, I'm gonna do that because I do have issues with often making my collars too tight, like on my sweater. I still have to kind of like yank that over the head. Same thing with my puntilla sweater, although that's stretched out over time. I'm hoping the Pebble Bay does the same thing, but so far it's no go. So anyway, I watched your tutorial, tried it a few times, screwed it up, got it on like about the 4th try, and I was like, great. So I think I did 20 cast ons, 30 cast on, just to kind of get the rhythm of it. I was like, great, I'm good to go. So I went to cast on the collar, I think it was like the next day, and did the German cast on the way I thought it was supposed to be, screwed it up. So then I had to go back and I watched the tutorial again, and it still took me a few tries. And then once I got the rhythm of it, I was fine. I got it cast on. Then when I went to do my socks, I thought, you know what? I'm going to do the German cast on for my socks because it makes sense, because as it's going up the leg, my leg anyway, is getting bigger. So I thought it would make sense to have a stretchy cast on. I went to do it, flubbed it up again, so I had to go back and look at the tutorial. So I think it's going to take me quite a few times before I get the rhythm of it. But once you get the rhythm of it, it's just like flip, 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 flip. But I love this yarn. It is so squishy. It's going to get kind of a non-superwash wool, and Swish DK comes in non-superwash. I should check that. But I was watching Kay, Crazy Sock Lady, and she's been making sweaters out of Swish DK, and she's loved it. So I thought I'll give it a shot. Plus, Knit Picks is inexpensive, and I thought if I mess this up or I find that, hey, I really hate knitting color work, but you know, just in case. I don't want to go spending a ton of money on really expensive yarn and then either mess the sweater up completely or find out like I don't enjoy it, blah, blah, blah. So I thought this is a good way to start. And I have to say, I love this yarn. I love it. It's inexpensive. It's so soft. And where I can sometimes have issues with non-superwash wool against my skin, I thought this is one I could like just throw on. I will wear this may be too much information, whatever. We're all friends here. I hate wearing a bra. Like, I hate it. I can get away with like a light support bra. So my favorite bra is those tank tops with the built-in shelf bra. That's my go-to because I hate bras. I hate it. I find them so uncomfortable. You know what I find so uncomfortable is the band. I can never find a band that fits here because if it's too loose, it starts to ride up. And then what's the point of it? I have yet to find a bra company that seems to know how to make a band that's comfortable. I have tried every kind of band you can think of. My point for that being, now that you know my bra story, is that with this yarn, I could literally just wear my tank top with my shelf bra on underneath and go. I don't have to wear like a shirt or a long sleeve shirt. Like I can just wear a light, which means I can kind of get probably a little more wear out of this if I can get it done really quickly, which I think it will because it's a fast knit before, you know, the weather gets too warm, which is probably several months off. You live in Nova Scotia, Kelly. Who are you kidding? Oh, I'll show you my floats. So what I've noticed is, because I'm at the point now where I'm going 2 to 3 stitches before I change colors. And I was kind of looking at my floats and I was like, oh, they're getting really loose. And then I realized, oh, wait, just like stretch them out kind of the normal length that they would be. And then they looked much more normal. They are still, I think, a bit looser, obviously, than my ones when I'm like 1 by 1. These are pretty even and consistent, but I think they look okay. I think they do. I don't know if that blows out there. I don't have my glasses on. Hopefully that's focusing. There, I love the pattern. It's very easy. It's exactly like she said, perfect for beginner knitters, for beginner colorwork knitters. Is even good for beginner knitters. Like it's a straightforward pattern. Her pattern writing, it's so easy to read and understand. There's more of hers in my future. Let's just say that. So I absolutely love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. So that is all I have been knitting on. I did a swap on Ravelry. There's some yarns I have on Ravelry that I have marked for destash for like trading, selling, whatever. So I traded with somebody on there. She got my Sugar Bush Cabot in the, I want to say it was Stormy Skies colorway. And I traded that and got Holstgarn in, is there a theme? What's your favorite color, Kelly? Could it be orange? So there's 7 skeins of these. Now these are 100% wool. So Holstgarn super soft. If memory serves, I think these actually, still need those. When you block it, it softens up and blooms a bit. It's not going to be like soft, like superwash soft, but it's going to be softer than what it feels here. Because I think it's still, I don't know why I smelled it. This is the color Ember. Oh, that's nice. I like that name. I don't like it when they just have numbers on it. It's so boring. But these are 50 gram balls. There's 287 meters, 314 yards. I don't know what I'm going to make out of this. I have enough for sweaters, so I think it makes sense that it's going to be a sweater, but that's going to be like my 3rd kind of burnt orange sweater. How many is too many? So I'm not going to knit out of that right away, but I want to do the Ruska hat by Jessica McDonald. One of the things she says that's really good, a good way to figure out if the contrast for your yarn is going to work well for color work is to take a picture of the yarns together and then flip it over to the mono setting, so the black and white setting in your phone, and you should be able to see a light tone, a medium tone, and a dark tone, and have them stand out enough so that you can see easily which is which. I thought that what I would do is get two kind of lighter base colors. So I got the gray. This is the Rosa Pomar Retrosario Brusca, 100% wool. I got it's almost like an oatmeal color, and I got a gray, and I thought I could use these as the base. And then I got kind of like a cranberry color, a greeny yellow color, orange, and then this almost like a forest green, maybe? It's not really green. It really looks more blue. It's forest blue. Blue spruce. Thank you. Blue spruce. Those are the ones I got. But here's the problem. I thought these two would be the medium tones, and these two would be the darker tones. But when I do the mono color, like switch it over, the medium tones are looking almost more dark tone. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. Now, what I can do, it's not like it has to be all the same yarn. It just has to be the same weight. So what I might do is kind of go through my stash and figure out which yarns will fit like a medium tone, and then I can always just use those in another project, or, you know, I'll figure some. It's not like it's not going to get used. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is just kind of go through my stash and see what I have that will work. I can play around and find something that works, but I really like the idea of doing that, like doing that black and white photo to kind of get a sense of how the tones are going to pop when you knit with them. So that's pretty much everything that's going on, except for one actually, but I didn't bring the yarn up. So what I will do is I will take a picture of the yarns and I will pop it up here. But I am really craving knitting a shawl. I know I have the half and half wrap on the needles, and that's sort of, I think, for me, a long-term project. I think what I'm really craving is a 3 skein shawl. And one of my favorite shawl patterns is the Free Your Fade. I've done 2 of those. I did one for my sister, and then I also did one for myself. And Fleece Artist put out their national parks colorways a while ago, and I bought one for each province. I was going to do a 3 skein shawl for the Atlantic provinces, which is Nova Scotia, PEI, and New Brunswick. But the skein for the Newfoundland Park for Gros Morne was so beautiful, and it really meshed better with the PEI and the Nova Scotia ones than the New Brunswick one did. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those 3 and do it. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to start with Nova Scotia, go to PEI, and then go to Newfoundland. So I think that's what I'm going to do, because I absolutely love that pattern. I find it so relaxed. I did one for my sister when she was going to work up north. She was going to work up in Nunavut, so I made her one out of Nunavut and Yukon and Northwest Territories. So she had the whole north up, and they were beautiful because they had all of these like beautiful, stunning blues, but they had them in like different shades, and it just blended so perfectly. I loved it. Yeah, so that's about all that's going on. We watched on HBO Max The Undoing with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant. Which was really good. Like right up until the end, I was still trying to figure out who did it. Then we also started watching on, I think this one's also on HBO Max, was called Our Flag Means Death, which is hilarious. It's hard to even explain it. It takes place in the 1700s. This well-to-do gentleman has always dreamed of being a pirate. So he builds a pirate ship, and then he goes and he decides to be like a gentleman pirate. And it's just hilarious. I think we're watching The Adam Project tonight with Ryan Reynolds because I love Ryan Reynolds. I think that's kind of all we're watching. Yeah, so that's all that's going on. Oh, I completely forgot. So I realized that this is my 5-year anniversary of doing this podcast. So I thought what I would do is I would do a 15% off code for any of the yarns in my shop. So I'll just put that down here. That code will be good until April 15th. I'll put that down there too, so you know. And that's good for 15% off any of the yarns in the shop. So you can head on over there and take part in the discount if you want. I think that's everything. I can't believe I've been doing this for 5 years. I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. I will have the March vlog out on the end of the month as well. And I will have a new episode in 2 weeks from when you see this one. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you get lots of knitting done between now and the next time I see you. And until then, happy knitting. Bye.